Good evening and welcome to this forum for the Jackson County 6th Legislative District, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Kansas City, Jackson, Clay, and Platte counties. I am Tommye Sexton. I'm a member of this league. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We neither screen nor endorse candidates. Our mission is to empower voters to defend our democracy. We envision a democracy where every citizen has the desire, the right, and the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. Our membership is open to everyone. We are here for this voter education event to provide an opportunity for you to ask questions and listen as the candidates present their positions. Voters have submitted questions via email at forumquestions@lwvkc.org. If you have a last-minute question, you can send it there now. All of the candidates running for the 6th District Jackson County Legislature have been invited to participate in our forum tonight. Each term is for 4 years. There are 3 candidates participating in tonight's forum. Each 6th District voter is eligible to vote for 1 candidate for the 6th District and 3 candidates who are running for districts at large. Those that are running for districts at large will not be part of this forum tonight. They were part of 3 of the different forums, District 1, 2, and 3, last week, and it is in the vault at League of Women Voters. You can go to, again, lwvc.org, lwvkc.org, and we have those archived if you'd like to see information and see the videos of the forums for the candidates are at large. Tonight, our 6th Jackson County District candidates are Trish Carlyle, Republican, Roberta Gough, Republican, and AmandaToomey, Democrat. We're having a little difficulty getting Trish Carlyle right now. Hopefully we'll get the video soon. We're going to start by telling you that the other people that are volunteering with me tonight is our timekeeper, Cheryl Barnes. Our Zoom board is monitored by Ann Calvert. Our legislative forum coordinator is Anitra Steele, and she's done it for some time. This forum will be recorded and available and archived in the League's webpage, just like the others I mentioned, at lwvkc.org. The candidates will answer each question in a random order that I've already shared with the candidates. This is the order I didn't show you, so that everyone will start first or end last. Each will have 90 seconds to respond to your questions. Candidates, please answer the question asked and stick to the topic. There will be no rebuttals, but you can go back to an issue during your closing remarks, for which you are allotted 2 minutes at the end. So let us begin with question 1, who will go first to AmandaToomey. Why are you running for the Jackson County Legislature? What particular experiences or skills have prepared you to serve as a county legislator, including any background with managing money and finance?
Thank you very much for the question. I appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. I have been involved with various areas of Jackson County for a long time as a longtime resident and as someone who came into the county as a child. I grew up on a farm in Cass County, but Kansas City was the place to be, right? So when I was given the opportunity to run for the 6th District and to become more involved in the happenings of the county, that was a very exciting opportunity that I wanted to take and place my name on this ballot here. As far as experience working with money, with finances, I have been involved with a number of nonprofit opportunities. I was heavily involved in Girl Scouts as in high school and in college. More professionally, my experience is on the education and technology side, more so than the finance side. I was a public school teacher for 3 years, and then I worked for UMKC for about 4 years. And then I've worked for some smaller companies around the Kansas City area as both a technical writer and a documentarian. I hope that I can provide sort of an outside view of what the common person living in the district and living in the county has need of from our county legislature. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Roberta Gough.
Hi, I am Roberta. I am running mainly over taxes. I have seen the property tax assessments of Jackson County skyrocket. In fact, it was so outrageous, I tried to do something about it. I founded an organization called the Jackson County Taxpayers Association. And the purpose of that organization was to slow down the growth of taxes, specifically property taxes. I had very little luck in controlling the property taxes. Assessments soared in 2019. 24,000 properties had their assessments double. That's a huge increase. And other than the ones that doubled, the rest of them went up 15%. And that's limited by county statutes, the strange statutes that you can raise someone's assessment up to 15%. And if you want to go more, you have to go take a look at it. It doesn't say specifically what kind of a look you take, but apparently they didn't look at them, and the fact that 24,000 doubled meant that the county itself violated its statutes. Now, the statutes again require that the
Roberta,
county must.
We'll have to stop.
Okay.
Okay, but thank you very much. And Trish, I can't see you, but perhaps we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I cannot get the video.
That's okay. We'll just listen to you. Did you hear the question?
I did not, sorry.
Why are you running for legislature in Jackson County, and what particular experiences or skills have prepared you to serve as a county legislator, including any background with managing money and finance?
Okay, so I just completed 8 years on the Lee Summit City Council. I just termed out in April. And for about the last year, people have been asking me if I'm going to do anything next. And I said no. There was no open seats that I wanted to run for locally, and I did not want to go to Jeff City. So when this seat did come open, the day before the last day of filing, my phone just started ringing off the hook, people asking me, my constituents from the 2nd District in Lee Summit, asking me to please sign up and run for this seat because they thought that I was a good representative of them. As far as experience, financially, I mean, I am a single mom, I run my own household. Obviously, I have to make those bills work, right? But also my last 8 years on the city council, I was on the budget committee for many of those years. So I've learned a lot about handling large budgets through that experience.
Okay. We will go to the second question. Historically, county government has been viewed by some as a place where people run for office in order to get their friends and relatives county contracts. How might this kind of nepotism be prevented? What would you do in order to hold county officials, including yourself and fellow legislators, accountable and ethical? And we start this time with Trish Carlyle.
Thank you for that question. So first of all, I think that not only is it our responsibility as legislators, but also everybody within the county and all of our constituents to hold us accountable to everything we do. I think, first of all, if we follow the charter, which does have rules against these things, and hold ourselves accountable, because it also tells us that we are our own judge. The legislature is the own judge for each other. So following the charter is a good first starting point, and then making sure that we hold ourselves and each other accountable to that charter, and any other rules of the legislature that might hold. And then lastly, I mean, it's very important for us to be as open and transparent with the public in all of our dealings as possible, so that they don't even have a thought that we might be doing something like that. So thank you.
Thank you. Next is Roberta Gough.
Okay, the question is, how do we keep from my friends and relatives off the county payroll? Well, it's pretty simple. I have 3 daughters. One daughter is a vice president of a bank in New York. Second daughter is retired from Hallmark. And the third daughter is just about to retire, works for a bank also. I can assure you that my daughters have no interest in getting a cushy county job. They're not interested in I think they have cushy jobs at the bank, but I don't think they're at all interested. As far as putting my friends on the payroll, you will find before the evening's over that I'm somewhat of a cranky guy. And if I had a meeting of all my friends, I think they would all fit in this room and have room to spare. I'm not a friendly guy, and I certainly have no interest in my acquaintances getting them cushy county jobs. I would prefer that the county reduce its payroll, reduce the number of people that are working. I don't know what the number is, but I would do everything I could to reduce the number. Thank you.
Thank you. AmandaToomey.
Thank you. Well, I have to agree with my fellow candidates here on a few things. As with Roberta, I don't personally have anyone I know that would be interested in that sort of position. But I think a lot of what Trish said is very important. We need to set up specific charters. We need to set up specific rules about how these different jobs, how these different contracts are being utilized. What is the process we do to vet those people who are applying for them or who are trying to get contracts from the county? How do we make sure that they're reputable businesses, that there isn't any sort of shenanigans going on? And how do we make sure that they are going to come in on time and on budget, and that we aren't underbidding ourselves in the present and then winding up paying double in the future? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next question. Are there any Jackson County departments that need diversity attention? And if so, which ones come to mind? And how would you implement any changes if so needed? And we're going to start with Roberta Gough.
The answer is, I don't know what is meant by diversity. I think I know what it is, and I'm very unhappy with it. I think we should have a meritocracy. That is, we should fill positions based on their merit, not on their race, not on their gender. Only their merit should qualify them for a job. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one is AmandaToomey.
Thank you. This is, as Roberta alluded to, a very complex question. I do not, honestly, off the top of my head, know the exact demographics of our entire Jackson County workforce. I'm sure that that data exists somewhere, and when I'm elected, I will certainly take a look at that. It goes back to the same answer as the previous question. We should have a process in place to ensure that we are looking at the entire package, that we are making sure that we are not favoring one particular group over another particular group, that maybe, as Roberta is saying, we need to make sure that there's merit. We need to make sure that there is a really strong reason to hire the people we're hiring, to sign the contracts we're signing. But it's also the other side of making sure that we have not set up a process in place that, whether intentionally or unintentionally, would be discriminatory against a particular group or groups of people. that makes it more difficult for them, even though they do have the qualifications and they do have the ability to do the job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Trish Carlyle.
Thank you. So I have not personally heard of any departments that are having issues with diversity within Jackson County. In my time knocking doors and talking to the community, nobody has mentioned that to me as an issue. So from the outside looking in, I guess there's not an issue that people see or is known well enough for people to be talking about. When I'm elected, I would take a close look at all of those things to make sure that whatever is happening there is what is supposed to be happening, that we are, as Roberta said, hiring people on their merits, that people are not being discriminated against, and that everybody does have an equal shot. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. Historically, some Jackson County legislators have worked toward economic development for the county, and some have worked with neighborhood associations, nonprofits to benefit the county. What is your background in these areas? And we will start with Trish Carlyle. No, I'm sorry, with AmandaToomey.
Thank you. I admit most of my previous background has not been working with HOAs, communities, the county at large. Much of my background when it comes to forming groups, to working with different groups, is more the education arena. It is working with parents to ensure that children are getting the education they need. It is working with the Girl Scouts to ensure that students who didn't have an opportunity to be in a scouting troop were able to do that. I would say one of the things that I would love to do is get more involved with some of those groups. Certainly, if elected, I would reach out to the various groups that have historically been reached out to, as well as new groups. We know in the modern era with social media and the ability to communicate more, there are new groups forming all the time who have strong opinions. Maybe they have strong backgrounds that could really give us a new point of view to look at whenever we are determining what's best for the county. And I do believe that it's important that all of those voices get heard, because we don't want to be a county that disproportionately says, hey, we're going to help all the people in Kansas City and ignore the people in rural Jackson County just because there's fewer of them around. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now Trish Carlyle.
Thank you. Could you just repeat that for me a little bit? I lost some
No
of it.
problem at all. Historically, legislators have worked towards economic development for the county, but some have worked with neighborhood associations and nonprofits for the benefit of the county. What is your background in these areas?
Okay, thank you. So I would go back to, once again, my time on the city council. We did work, the city worked with the county on many issues. I wouldn't say it was the best working relationship, and that is something that I would like to be able to change when I get elected. I think the county should work more. They did a great job partnering with communities like on the Rock Island Railroad. And so I think if they would use that experience in partnership to also towards infrastructure issues and economic development with the cities that reside in Jackson County, that would be a great thing. I think just working with the city as a council member gave me great experience within the economic development sphere of really how we need to go about luring businesses into our communities to take the tax burden off of the people. So that would be the majority of my experience in that arena. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Roberta Gough.
Thank you. I read just, I believe it was 3 days ago, that a company from California announced they were opening a factory in Kansas, just across the border. Now, why didn't they want to come to Missouri? I think we all know Missouri is not a place to bring a business. Missouri is not a right to work state. As soon as they open the doors, they're going to find themselves involved with union problems, serious union problems, which drain their resources. Now, a lot of people believe, well, we just need to create government jobs. That will make us prosperous. Actually, the opposite is true. Government jobs siphon money away from productive people and put it in the payrolls of government employees. And that is a very discouraging situation. We need to have jobs that are produced, private jobs. I would like to see, and this is just a dream, I would like to see right to work statutes in Jackson County or in the entire state of Missouri. It's not going to happen during my lifetime, but that would be the solution to make Missouri prosperous. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. Do you believe that Jackson County property taxes are fairly assessed now? And if not, how would you make property tax assessments more fair and equitable while maintaining funding for the Jackson County services? We will start with Trish Carlyle.
Thank you. So I believe we have many issues with the assessment problem. I think an across the board hike equally for everybody within Jackson County is wrong. There is no way that somebody's home in, let's say, downtown Kansas City has increased in value the same as somebody's home who is in a very affluent community. So I just think that that needs to be looked at. The picture, the overall economic picture for each area needs to be looked at when looking at assessment. Aside from that, I think we need to make sure that the assessments are actually on the tax rolls. There are numerous homes, lots, and farms. Well, they're rated farms. I'm not so sure that they're actual farms that aren't even on the rolls, or they're on the rolls for just here in Lee Summit last year. A constituent of mine brought to my attention, and then we researched it further, that there are more than 100 lots that sit empty that are being told are only worth $300. Well, if there's a lot in Lee Summit worth $300, I want to take that. So we just need to get those things lined out instead of across the board rate hikes for everybody.
Thank you. Roberta Gough.
Fair taxes. Boy, is that a troubling category. I don't know what a fair tax is. All I know are good taxes and bad taxes. You could ask yourself, companies like the Kansas City Star, who put people in public office in Jackson County or in Missouri, as a matter of fact, have several items tax-free. That is, the supplies used to put out the newspaper, the paper, the ink. They pay no sales taxes on these items. Fair tax is I'm not sure the way to describe it. I don't know what a fair tax is. They're all bad. Why are some properties assessed differently than others? Several are political reasons. Many companies are on the favored list of Jackson County, pay no taxes. And as I said before, there are some homes that have gone up, have doubled, some of them as high as 600%. Why? I don't know. That's all I can say. I don't know how to determine a fair tax.
Thank you. AmandaToomey.
Thank you. As the others have said, this is another one of those hot button issues. I remember when the last assessments went out, as Roberta mentioned earlier, 2019, that was intense. I was working for a small company in Lee Summit, working with a lot of blue collar HVAC guys and gals. And that was the talk of the office for months afterwards was, oh my gosh, this increased my house by this huge amount. This increased, my business by maybe this much. This cost me some business because now this company or this homeowner decided not to invest in upgrading their system. We were doing smart homes. So it was definitely not done in the best way. I think we can all agree. That said, I disagree with Roberta on this one. I do believe that there are taxes that are necessary. I want to have good schools. I want to have roads that are salted in the winter. So we're going to have to figure out some way of doing taxes in general. And I don't think that they're all bad. I do think that the way that we do it currently is deeply, deeply flawed. I think we need to go back to the starting block and take a look at what the laws are regarding taxes. Why are they the way they are? And do those laws still make sense in the modern age with what we need to fund and the things that we no longer need to fund and the things that no longer need to be based on our taxes? Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. What are your thoughts about investing county money in a regional transit system that might connect parts of the county with the Kansas City system? And we will start with Roberta Gough.
Well, a government transit system doesn't make any sense at all. The downtown Kansas City, the trolley folly, what is it, $100 million or something like, yes, I think it's over $100 million, and they don't make any money. They don't pay for themselves. Government transit systems are just a big boondoggle. And I would not favor any government transit system connecting anything with anything else.
Thank you. AmandaToomey.
Thank you. I would be in favor of expanding public transit for a number of reasons. It is true. It doesn't cost you anything to ride the trolley in downtown Kansas City. But what it also does is it means that we don't have to spend as much time dealing with drunk drivers who are down in the Power and Light District. It means that we get more people riding the trolley to get in from places who wouldn't be able to park otherwise. And that brings in additional revenue that helps businesses downtown. And ultimately that means more sales tax. Now, whether or not that's a balance on the budget sheet, I'd have to take a look at the budget to look at it. But I know from having traveled, having a mass transit system in your city is very, very common throughout the world for many reasons. It decreases the number of cars on the road. If we had a trolley or some other mass transit that could get you from the suburbs into the city, that helps get you more qualified workers downtown. It helps you get more people going in for entertainment. It helps you get more people going in for restaurants and shopping and all of those things that do actually generate revenue through the taxes that they generate. So I would be in favor of it. Obviously, it is another thing that we would need to do in a very meaningful way. We would need to make appropriate choices and not just sort of throw it out there and hope that it works. But I do think that there is a place in this county for having better mass transit than what we have.
Thank you. Trish Carlyle.
Thank you. I would have to say that I agree a little bit with both of my other colleagues here, that we do have some forms of transit that come out to Lee Summit, say. We have a couple of lines for the bus that come out, and obviously we have the Amtrak, but that's not feasible. It comes through twice a day and it's not during work hours. So that's really not feasible. I would be in support of looking at something to expand some sort of transit out into Eastern Jackson County from downtown Kansas City. I think it's something that's being looked at by many. I don't think that it could be free. It has to pay for itself somehow. But like I said, I would be in favor of looking at some way of expanding that, whether it be the bus lines or a completely different form of transit that we don't currently have. Thank you.
Thank you. What is your position regarding moving the Royal Stadium downtown? If you support the move, what would the public financing of the public-private partnership be like? We'll start with AmandaToomey.
Thank you. I knew this question was coming at some point. I admit I've somewhat been dreading it because I understand that the Jackson County Legislature is going to have some say in that because it's going to involve public funds. I admit I'm a little confused as to why there is this supposed call for it to be moved downtown. The people that I listen to, the people that I talk with are like, where are you going to park? How am I going to get in and out of the city? It's already a traffic jam when we have a game at the stadium where it's at now, trying to get people in and out. And that's when you have a major freeway going in and out of the city, in and out of the stadium. So I have a lot of logistical questions about why and how that would even function in a way that's meaningful. I suspect that it has to do with certain groups who are hoping to get the bids, putting a lot of pressure on the city to want to move it so they can get those bids, somewhat similar to what we saw with the airport previously. I think, in my opinion, if it was left to me, I would feel it is more useful for the city to consider investing money in mass transit that can get people in and out. If the reason is we need easier ways for people in the inner core to get out to the stadium, super. Let's look at those mass transit things that can be used all the time and not just during games. Thank you.
Thank you. Trish Carlyle.
Thank you. So I don't think there is any way the county can stop the stadiums from moving if they want to move. That being said, there is currently a partnership that does cost the taxpayers a lot of money for the stadiums we currently have. And we just spent a lot of money to upgrade those stadiums. So if in 9 or 10 years, they're going to come back and say, okay, we know you just spent all of this taxpayer money to upgrade the current stadiums we are in, but now we want to move downtown. Can we get some more tax dollars? That's going to be a hard ask. So that's going to be something, if it does come through and they want tax dollars, that would have to go to the people to vote on that. I don't think that the legislature, regardless of who is there, can make a decision like that for the entire county. It's just too much money coming out of our pockets as taxpayers for me to be able to make that decision, even with a legislature surrounding me on our own. I think that would have to go to the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Roberta Gough.
Well, I think you know my opinion. That's a crazy idea. Move a perfectly good stadium that has been paid for by taxpayer dollars, move it downtown. I have no reason why you'd want to do such a thing. Whenever you talk the word investment, that's a funny word to call taxes. Taxes are not investments. Taxes take money away from people who have earned it and given it to people that haven't earned it. Now, if the team owners want to pay for everything, they can put it wherever they want, but the taxpayers should be left alone.
Thank you. Next question. What would you use for guidance on county health decisions? Public health director, federal health guidelines, science, or something else? Explain why. And we will start with Trish Carlyle. Trish?
Yep, sorry, I couldn't get my button to work.
Thank you.
So I would absolutely look at all of the information given in regards to COVID. I would say that I think the county's position on any health mandates should be to look at the information given and give out what they think people should do. I don't think that the mandates that we just went through worked well for anyone. It didn't work well for our school children. It did not work well for our businesses. And we just could not do that again. I think looking at the information, putting it out to the public so that it is easily understood and readable and not have conflicting information everywhere is the most important thing for us. COVID really put the medical community in a hard spot, and I understand that, and I hate that for them. But what it's also done is make the medical community the enemy to some people, and I don't think that's right either. So I think we should look at all the information given from the federal government, the state government, and the county, and then put out the information for the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Roberta Gough.
I must have missed the news items. It said that Obamacare had been shut down. I missed the news item that Medicaid had shut down, Medicare had shut down, that the various healthcare systems such as Blue Cross Blue Shield had shut down. I'm not aware of a serious health problem that we have in Jackson County.
Thank you. And AmandaToomey.
Thank you. I come from a background with a lot of family who are in the health care industry and health providers. My answer is science and the medical community at large. There are national institutions that are not tied to the government, which certify doctors, they certify nurses, they certify therapists. There are institutions that we have chosen as people to place our trust in when they say this person has the education, the knowledge, and the skill to take care of our health. It's not my role to second guess those people. Now, when we talk about COVID specifically and more broadly, things like vaccines, in recent times, a lot of that has become political and the waters have become muddy, and that's a problem. I completely agree. But at the end of the day, we need to be looking at the science. We need to be listening to the national boards of health. We need to be listening to the people who are experts in this area and not trying to sort of quarterback from the sidelines, as they say. If I'm told by my doctor, this is something that is dangerous, it is something that you need to do, I'm generally going to listen to them because they have much more education than I do in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. What accountability and transparency will be used in the bidding and construction of the new county jail? Will the new jail be used by both Jackson County and Kansas City? And we will start with Roberta Gough.
Well, I'm thinking of the airport, the construction of the new airport. We went from having the best airport in the nation that I ever landed at was Kansas City. I could pick up, when a plane arrived, I could go get my bags and have someone meet me all in just short minutes. We go to other airports, there's a long, long time between you get off the plane and when you get in your car. Kansas City fixed that by this multi-billion-dollar new airport. I'm convinced that it was just a boondoggle. We were much better off without it. So to try and build huge arrangements with taxpayer dollars, I oppose it.
Okay, thank you. Second one is AmandaToomey.
Thank you. As with everything else with the county legislature, transparency is going to be key. I don't know what good reason there would be why the county legislature can't be transparent on everything. These are taxpayer funds. People should know who is hired, why they were chosen. It should be available, how much we're spending, what we're spending it on, we should have processes in place that ensure that, as we discussed earlier, the right people are chosen, that they're going to come in on time, that they're going to come in on budget. As far as whether or not Kansas City and Jackson County, and I have to laugh every time we distinguish them, but there is, this political distinguishment between them. Whether or not they both use the jail, where's the money coming from? If the Kansas City portion of Jackson County is not helping pay for that, then no, they should not be a part of that. And same thing, vice versa. If Kansas City pays for it and Jackson County doesn't, they shouldn't be a part of that. There are social commitments that we have to make to each other to ensure that facilities are upkept and that they are doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. But part of that is also saying, if your part of the county wants to be part of this, then you also have to be part of it the entire way, including funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Trish Carlyle.
Thank you. So I would agree with Amanda there on the transparency aspect. All the details about the jail, whether it be the plans, who's involved, where the contracts are going, and how much money is being spent, what the budget is, all of those things need to be available to the public. As far as whether or not Jackson County and Kansas City should work together on this jail, well, so far they haven't. I know that I have heard that Kansas City now does want to join in and work together on this jail. I think that's fine if they want to collaborate and share funds. I don't think that Jackson County citizens, which Kansas City, a lot of it lies in Jackson County as well, but I don't think that Jackson County should be taking the brunt of the dollars if Kansas City is going to be involved also. There needs to be a sharing of the funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. The National Resources Defense Council reports that Missouri has one of the highest number of lead pipes in the United States. What is the county doing now, or might it do, to help with identification and replacement of lead pipes? And we will start with AmandaToomey.
It doesn't particularly surprise me that we have a large number of lead pipes. I am not aware of the exact numbers of how many we have, so I'm not sure that I can answer that half of the question for you. I'm sure the numbers are probably in the same report that you cited. What I would say in terms of what we can do about it, there are a huge quantity of non-destructive methods for evaluating things in the modern era. I am absolutely sure that the technology exists, that we can go in, take a look at where these pipes are, what they're servicing. 100%, we need to ensure that we don't have lead in our community as much as is practically possible. Now, replacing it all overnight isn't going to happen. We all know that. But every day that we don't replace it is a day that we're affecting our children and our children's children, because lead isn't something that just doesn't have an effect. It's not something that goes away. There's a reason why there's water filtration ads that use lead as the example. So we need to use the science to determine where they are, and we need to start with those that are going to have the most impact on the youth of our cities. If we have these going into schools and daycares and that sort of thing, that's where we should start. And from there, we work our way out. Thank you.
Thank you. Trish Carlyle.
Thank you. So I am sure that Jackson County has a ton of lead pipes in the area, but there are numerous cities that reside within Jackson County that can fall to as well. So Jackson County needs to be responsible for what it as a county maintains it as its infrastructure. And then it needs to let the cities that reside within the county make the decisions on their infrastructure. I know that nobody wants lead pipes. All the cities are working hard to maintain and update their infrastructure. I think if the county and the cities work together to get these things done, it's going to move along a lot faster and be a lot easier for everybody. Also, I think as far as funding goes, there are numerous grants out there that are available to help with infrastructure updates. And so really going out and getting those, and as the county getting them for the cities that cannot, because there might be some sort of number of residents you have to have before you're available, or before you can get those funds, then Jackson County could get them for the cities and then disperse as needed. So I think infrastructure and partnerships with the cities is huge, and it should always happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Roberta Gough.
I think I agree with Trish there that the pipes that the county are responsible for is very, very small compared to Kansas City, Lee Summit, and other cities. That's something that the other cities are going to have to address. And as Amanda says, you start replacing the pipes where they're doing the most damage, where the biggest problems are. I agree with her on that. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Do you support the county sheriff department working with federal law enforcement laws? Do you support new or different gun regulations in Jackson County? And for this one, we will start with Trish Carlyle.
Thank you. I absolutely do support the sheriff's office working as they can with federal agencies or laws. You know, a lot of what local governments are allowed to do is dictated by the state. And sometimes we get a lot of barriers in our way to be able to do the things that are best for our communities because of how the state dictates to us. So as far as the county working with federal laws or collaborating with federal agencies, I think that is great and wonderful, and I wish they could do more of it. I would not push them to do things that they do not feel comfortable doing because of the current laws on the books. As far as gun control, once again, that is, I'm sure all of us would like to have local control of gun laws, but unfortunately, that's just not how it works. And so the state mandates those things to us, and we have to do what we can with that. So thank you.
Thank you. Roberta Gough.
Well, of course, the ultimate gun law is the Constitution. Now, a lot of people don't like the Constitution. They think it's a racist document. I am not one of those people. I think gun control is very clearly spelled out that Congress shall pass no laws prohibiting ownership of guns. And if anything, the local communities attempt, and they're often successful at violating our Second Amendment. And I am not in favor of violating our Second Amendment.
Thank you. AmandaToomey.
Well, I mentioned earlier, I grew up in a farming community. Many of the people who I went to school with hunted to survive. They lived off what they could hunt. I am certainly in no way going to be a let's ban all guns sort of person, despite the D next to my name on the ballot. That said, there is also in the Constitution a statement that says it should be a well-regulated, which means there is an impetus to say, if you are going to have a gun, you should know how to use it. You should know how to use it not only in the literal sense of this is how I clean it and this is how you pull the trigger, but also in the sense of situational awareness and knowing when is the right time to pull out a gun, when is the right time to use a gun. In rural areas, we do what's called hunter safety training. I don't see a reason why we couldn't have something similar that we implement in schools across the board that teaches children, this is how you respect a gun. Guns are tools for killing. That's what they're made for. yeah, it can be fun to go out and target shoot, or it can be imperative that you go out and hunt. But I think one of the biggest things that we can do, in addition to what we've already got, which some of it's good, some of it's bad, is to simply educate people on the time and the place and the appropriate manner in which a gun is appropriate for usage. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, candidates, that was our last question. It's now time for your 2-minute closing remarks. Take a moment to gather your thoughts. Thank you, audience, for your thought-provoking questions and your interest in this election. Remember, this forum will be archived in the League's website, lwvkc.org. And now for the candidates' closing remarks. This first one will be Roberta Gough.
Thank you. I did want to comment on Roberta's remark about teaching gun safety in our schools. I strongly support that. However, here comes the however. I know people, older people, who say the high schools used to have gun clubs where they learned gun safety, and they would bring guns to high school and they would shoot them, learn how to use them. I can tell you that if we'd had such a thing in Lee Summit, they would have seizures of apoplexy. Can you imagine taking a gun to school to learn gun safety? Never, never. The schools would not allow a single bit of gun safety to be taught on their properties. So Amanda, as much as I support your programs, it's not going to happen. In closing, as you can tell, I am a tax protector of our citizens. I think any money taken from our working citizens and put into the government is money that is not available for growth. And I would like to see a change in that. I did want to mention that the county legislature unanimously voted to send a company in Texas around to look at our houses. They just looked at them. And now that qualifies them to increase our taxes far more than the 15% that is currently required. Again, the county, and it was a unanimous vote by the county, they spent $18 million to have a look at our properties. And I hope that the tax collectors will lay off of this. Thank you.
Thank you. AmandaToomey.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today with the League of Women Voters, and I appreciate the work that you do in our community. I'm running in order to provide a voice to everybody in the county and to give options on the ballot to look at things in a different way. I very much hope that you will give me the opportunity to represent you and that we can work toward a county that will spend on the things that are important and that will ensure that everybody in the county is benefiting from the taxes that we do use, and that we do so in a way that is very transparent and in a way that doesn't leave anybody in the county behind. Thank you.
Thank you. Trish Carlyle.
Thank you. And first, I just want to thank everybody who did attend tonight, and to the League for allowing us to be here and have this forum. If I am elected in November, I promise that I will be a transparent, professional legislator. I will work very hard to ensure that all of the tax dollars are well spent, that everyone in the community has a voice. I will answer my phone if you call. I will respond to your emails if you email me. I truly want to be here to serve the people of Jackson County. I have an 8-year history from the Lee Summit City Council. If anybody has any question on where I stand on any issue, I am here for the people. I'm here to be a voice for the people, to work with whomever might get elected so that we can make sure that Jackson County is prosperous in the future. Once again, you know, the budget to me is one of the most important things that Jackson County does and that the legislature has control of. We need to make sure that we're tightening up the strings on the budget with the overall economic community in Jackson County and the nationwide. You know, we have a lot of things coming at us, and we've just got to make sure that we're prepared for that. And I think the best way to prepare for that is to really tighten the purse strings and make sure that every dollar being spent is being spent correctly, and nothing else. So thank you again for your time, and everybody else for coming, and have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you, candidates, for your willingness to participate in this forum. Remember, a recording of this forum will be available soon on the League website. Audience, please take time to share the insight you have gained tonight with your family and friends, and be sure to get to the polls and vote on Tuesday, August 2nd. Thank you and good night.